We're back. Hope you're able to squeeze in a break. And
We don't really want to know what you did.
no, and I hope you were able to negotiate whatever it was you needed to negotiate, and also head past the refrigerator and get a couple more bottles.
Pop the beer.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. So, Duane, changing the subject. By the way, I got to make an announcement. I'm doing it again. I'm going to cancel the Globe. I can't stand it.
I'm thinking about canceling it too, because there's one up another $4 or something.
Well, I'm going to cancel it, and I love the sports section,
Mm-hmm.
but the politics is creeping into the bloody sports section.
Oh yeah, it's they just cannot resist. There's some force, some evil force that's just forcing them down that path.
That's right. Yeah, I think his name is John Henry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or Mrs. John Henry, one or t'other.
Mm-hmm.
But they own it, and they own responsibility for it.
That's right.
And it's on their shoulders, my quitting again. But you know what? I love the sports section. I read the bridge column. And then I peruse the national news. Well, it's so one-sided and so hate-filled that you could only absorb it for so long.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the Herald, which the Globe takes me 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour sometimes,
Yeah,
with interruptions to read.
I spend more than an hour on the Globe.
Yeah. The Herald is usually about a 7-minute job.
Yeah, I don't get the Herald. I get the Sun Chronicle.
Yeah, or the same difference.
Yeah, they're about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, sometime this week, I will pull the plug on the Globe again. And I got one of the ads, the giveaway ads for the Wall Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
6 months for $18 or
Yeah.
something. But I haven't canceled that for up to 6 months. So I got probably
Weed out
one
your-
more mailing I have
weed
to
out
wait
your
out
time, yeah.
before I can do that.
Yeah.
But
The Globe has
has
gotten ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah. As my wife points out to me, do you know how much newspapers cost you every month?
I think Globe I was paying $74 or $78 a month,
I think it is, yeah.
and it's going to be going up another 4 or 5.
Well, and that's the end of that story, yeah. But Barron's cost me $19 a month.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I got a bag of stuff for you. Remind me
Okay.
when we get through. Bring it over to your house. So anyway, one of the Globe has half a dozen drums, and they bang on these same drums over and over
Yeah.
and over. One of them is abortion. They rail about any of the states that are taking measures to protect the unborn. Because that's what it sort of has turned to. It's not the mother. The emphasis now is on the unborn child in the mother's womb. Well, the truth of the matter is, as I have always felt, and I still feel, is the Supreme Court has never specifically approved of abortion. They approved of a woman's right to privacy.
That's right.
And from that button they found, they sewed a vest on it. And court cases were then brought that abortion should be considered a woman's private act and she should be entitled to do it. Well, so the Supreme Court is going to be asked to genuinely rule on abortion. There is no mention of abortion in the Constitution.
Of course not.
Or the Bill of Rights or anything like that. However, I think the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness angle should cover the unborn. But anyway, I think that eventually the Supreme Court is going to rule, and I think it's going to throw out all of the premise that abortion is approved by this right to privacy. So it's going to go where it belonged, to the states. Well, so the Globe has been writing about it. State legislatures poised to act on abortion. The sub thing is, as Supreme Court considers Roe, both sides prepare. So, what are your feelings on this?
Mine's a little different than yours.
Okay.
I think that abortion is a matter between the person. I don't have any right to infringe on some woman's reason to do it or not do it. To me, it's just it's an individual choice. It's somewhat of a moral choice, and sometimes it's not. But that's not my decision to make. I think a woman that's the victim of rape or incest or something like this. If I was a woman, I probably would have taken that same path. But I'm not, so I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
I think the morning after pill has changed the landscape
somewhat, yes,
of a lot of people's thinking. The rape or incest pregnancy can be terminated very quickly by the morning after pill.
Yeah.
I'm hazy on that. I don't want to play God.
No,
But by the same token, I've never been a raped 15-year-old girl either.
No, that's right.
But a woman, it seems to me, a child in a woman's womb who is viable, and because of a personal preference, she changes her mind and says, no, it's too late in life for us to have another kid. I'm going to go have an abortion. That form of birth control, I think, is wrong.
That's the key right there. I don't see it as should ever be used as a form of birth control, because there's so many other items, so many other ways of doing it.
Yeah.
To do that, that's just like taking a hammer to kill an ant.
Yeah.
It's just, why didn't you just use some other prevention in the first place?
Exactly.
Even the pill, that morning after pill now, if you thought, well, I forgot to take my birth control pill, maybe I'm in trouble, well, take the other one.
I'm going to have an uncomfortable 2 or 3 days, but...
Or you won't have any comfortable at all because nothing happened, but you're just making sure nothing happened.
That's right.
But to leave it alone and just let it grow into something else, and I don't mean just the fetus, I mean the whole situation growing into something else, then take a drastic action to repair it or to change it, that's wrong.
Do you know that now, look, there's folks on either side of this that I think probably color the stories.
Of course, big time.
So, but there was one woman who has had 9 abortions.
Yeah.
Just birth control abortions.
That's what they are. They're just too damn lazy to do anything else.
Yep. And she has seen the light, and she's now opposed to abortion. And they're using her as a
Okay.
talking person. But that's wrong. I mean, just totally wrong. But you're right. There are so many ways of finding birth control devices.
Mm-hmm.
That it just seems to me that I agree with you. This can't be used as a birth control
No.
device. And not only that, but the horrible method they use of destroying that embryo, that baby,
Mm-hmm.
that viable life is unbelievable. And they have to have a nurse there because she has to, as the doctor tears the fetus apart, removing it, she has to reconstruct it to make sure they've got all the pieces.
Yeah.
Now, is that barbarism?
Probably.
I mean, give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, you can't talk about that. That's a horrible thing to talk about. Don't talk to me about that.
Yeah. Neither side wants to see anything in it except their own view. You know that birth control at one time in this country in some states was illegal.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
My father, when
Absolutely.
I was a little kid, in fact, when I was born, about that time, right after the war, 1945 or so, he owned a city service. Yeah, well, it wasn't Citgo then; it was city service, and it was. And he had a Shell station. No, Phillips 66 and a Shell
Okay, yeah.
station at different times. And in the state of Wisconsin, you could not sell contraceptives to somebody that wasn't married, and you were supposed to have a doctor's permission. But of course, you know, the local gas station, he'd come in, he'd tell about, you know, it's Friday night or Saturday night, and the young guy comes in. What do you need? And sell them. But it was against the law to do it. You're supposed to go to a drugstore with a permission, your marriage certificate, and anything from your doctor.
In Norfolk, all right, it was when I was a kid, it was a taboo subject, you know, and there was a general store in the center of town, that's currently empty besides Norfolk Food Mart. Has been empty for a long time. And you'd go in and could I see you over here?
Yeah.
And he'd walk all the way over and a dozen Trojans.
Yeah.
And everything's below the counter as he puts them in a plain paper bag.
Oh yeah.
And hands them to you.
Now they're everywhere.
Mm. And I remember being counseled by my older friends. You know, if he says to you, you're not married or you're not old enough or something, just I'm married. I'll take care of getting them for you. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but get them. You know. But it was. While it wasn't illegal, it was not discussed. It was not talked about.
When I was a kid in North State, it was illegal. So was aspirin.
Really?
Aspirin it wasn't illegal. It could not be sold except in a drugstore.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't go to a supermarket and buy a bottle of aspirin. Hell, you couldn't buy yellow margarine either, obviously.
Yeah.
You could only buy white margarine. And they sold a little pack of coloring that you
Yeah,
put in and
that's right.
stirred it up.
Yeah. And it was in a plastic bag, and you break
Yep.
the piece that was inside,
That's right.
and then you'd have
Squeezed
to
it and
sit
mixed it
there
up.
like this for 20 minutes. And yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched my grandfather do that many times during
Speaking
World
of,
War
back to
II.
the condom, they became legal at one point, but I remember the guys at the gas stations would laugh. They said, what you do, you put a condom dispensing machine in the women's bathroom, but leave it empty. Because when she puts her quarter in and doesn't get anything out, they're most all of them are too embarrassed to come into the station and say, I didn't get anything.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's awful.
There is a condom machine, was a condom machine, in the men's, was a men's woman,
Yeah.
a combination bathroom, down in the blood lab at Norwood Hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's.
The last time well, it was there before the building fell in.
Mhm.
It was right there. It was a quarter.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've seen for 30 or 40 years.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know they had them in the machine anymore.
I don't know. It may be empty for all I know. They just never took it down. But anyway, this is going to cause quite a bit of concern if, in fact, the Supreme Court does rule that way.
Yeah, it is.
States are going to have to snap and get moving and address this situation
Yeah,
like
it's gonna be-
immediately.
It's going to be a regular old legal Donnybrook out there.
It is.
Uh,
Yeah, the lawyers are probably licking their chops.
oh, my God, Bill. The money that's going to generate.
A license to steal.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting. 5 Lynn police officers have resigned, and 1 was fired,
Yep.
and 2 suspended, following a month-long investigation into a text exchange that included racially offensive language and evidence of drug use by officers. Can the police ever clean up their act? Can they ever catch a break? Or is this just going to keep on coming and coming and coming? Are the police departments this bad?
I think there are some
Yeah.
that are pretty damn close to what
Yep.
you're seeing,
Yep.
but I don't think generally they are.
No.
But any organization that's got more than 2 people in it, there's always a chance that there's a rotten apple in there.
Yeah.
And that's just human nature.
Of course it is.
Um,
You know, and any time there's a chance for a free lunch,
That's right. Anytime there's a chance to make a buck or to
then
circumvent the system,
bingo bango, it happens.
it happens.
Yeah. Now, that's human nature.
Mhm.
We're all born with original sin.
Yeah.
That's a great practical joke that God played on us all, you know?
Yeah.
But we're all born with that hanging over us,
Yeah.
and you come to junctures of your life when you make a decision that's wrong, but you do it knowingly.
And some organizations are just set up to invite that kind of corruption or that kind of
When
malfeasance, just the way they set them up.
have power.
Yep. And no accountability. That's another thing. And when you got everybody's on that pyramid of command, and this one here was always somebody that came from down here, and this one came here. They each came from a lower level to the next level from the same organization. So they're bringing their same systems with them. And that's where you get, look at the state police, for example. They always had to promote from within.
Yeah.
If you got a couple of baddies down here, well, the baddie got promoted. Then he got promoted to somebody else and somebody else and somebody
And the
else.
power of the union
Yep.
boosted seniority.
That's exactly right.
as
And
a
pretty soon you had the whole
prime
thing
shaker
was
and mover.
corrupt.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, my interfacing with the state police has, for just about every instance, been a disaster.
I've only had once, and that was crazy.
Yeah. It was humiliating, or it was bordered on corrupt.
Yep.
And too much water's gone under the dam for me to relate too much of it. But I saw things that, very frankly, I couldn't believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only time I ever had any interactions with him, I was on 128. There was an accident. The traffic had come to a stop, and I'm stopped. It was 3 lanes yet. There's 4 now on some of them parts. So down by before you come to the Braintree split, in that section there, and everybody had come to a stop, and this statey come down screaming down the road, excited as hell because he got this call that there was an accident down there. Well, he'd come up on everybody stopped, and he like and smashed into the back of a car. Nobody heard nothing. It was just he couldn't stop. He was too excited to stop. So what do you think they did?
Ticketed the car.
They went around everybody that was sitting there and gave him a breathalyzer test.
Wonderful.
They want me to blow? I'm just waiting I just saw the cop smash into that car. No, they were looking for somebody that had any kind of alcohol in their breath, because if you had to testify, then they'd throw your testimony out.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
They were testing everybody that was in sight of that accident,
Yeah.
just to try to get that guy off responsible for crashing into the cars.
Yeah.
I said, you dirty SOBs.
Oh, listen, let me tell you something. The blue wall of silence. It's a blue wall of, I don't know exactly the term to use, but it just blocks all inquiry into their activity.
Yep.
And they drop it right over
Oh, yeah.
into, like, for instance, some of the things that the Herald, more so than the Globe, but the Herald has featured the judge's daughter, and how she skated,
Yeah.
and on and on and on. State police will never discuss it. And our Attorney General,
Oh, my God.
Muffy Healy.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Ridiculous. But going back to the Lynn,
Yep.
Lynn, the city of sin.
Once you go out, you can't come in.
Yeah. What? At some point in time, and I hate the thought of this, but does civilian control have to take over police departments?
Shouldn't have to, but I think they do.
Yeah. I enjoy asking questions. So a couple of times with a couple of our town fathers, I asked them questions about the police department.
Mm-hmm.
How many stops do they make in the course of a year? How many people are prosecuted? How many police cars do we have? And selectman and town administrator both said, you don't have a need to know.
To know, I'm sure.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I pay taxes.
Absolutely.
You pay taxes. And we have every right in the world
You
to
have
ask.
they don't. You have no right to question us.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Now, you know a lot more of what's going on in town years ago and stuff. I don't know these people,
Yeah.
but maybe 10 years ago, it's probably now. I think it was either the Globe or the Sun Chronicle had a listing of tickets giving out in towns in the area. I think it was Sun Chronicle. North Attleboro was the highest. It was like 96% of the stops got a ticket. Guess who was last?
Norfolk.
Norfolk. They hardly gave any tickets. Everybody got a warning and let go.
Yeah.
And I said, that's either corruption or laziness.
Actually, I think it's a political consideration.
Or a political.
We want the voters, when they come to town meeting, not to look at us
Oh, that's
as
right.
an intimidating factor, but as good guys.
And then we want our budget passed. And we want
That's
this.
right. That's right. And as a result,
They didn't get it. I thought you're not
the
helping
sky's
this.
the limit.
You're not helping the people in this town. You got speeders. You got everything else. And they're not
Oh,
going to get
you
a
can
ticket.
write up out of towners.
Oh, that's right. You can do out
Yeah.
of towners.
But not townies. And
I never thought of it that.
also the big trucks. Don't go writing up them. That comes back to hurt us too. It's interesting, but I don't know. You would like to think that once you're on a governing board in a town, you'd have the backbone
Mm-hmm.
to say, I want to know about this. I want some answers to these questions. But boy, when it comes to the police department, they skate in the other direction.
Yeah. It's self-preservation, self-protection. There's no sense of transparency in a lot of organizations, which they should be. There should be accountability and transparency, but there never is. Sometimes there's lip service that there is, but there isn't.
There isn't. There is no transparency. Yeah.
Last night. Now we're night owls. We usually end up watching Seinfeld and what I can't even think of his name. Robert, the talk show guy.
Colbert.
Now,
Stephen Colbert.
I couldn't stand him for a long time, but now he's got some new writers, and his monologues have gotten a lot better. They're actually funny, and they're cutting now, both sides. He takes.
Because he never took both sides.
No,
never.
he didn't. Always the.
So
the
there has
liberal
to
side.
have been a
There's been a
decision
revolution in
at
there.
the top.
Yeah, but now he goes after Biden, Sleepy Biden as he called now, as much as he goes about anybody else. But anyway, last night he had one of our favorite persons on as a guest, Elizabeth Warren.
Oh my. Yeah, isn't it interesting though that he still trots out the same
But
guests?
he nailed her
Really?
big time, right to the chair. That woman, the first time in my life ever saw, she was speechless for a long time. She's whining about the filibuster and how it does this and does that and it stops all this. And he said, Senator, let's just assume that you lose the majority come 2022. And now you're the minority. Are you still going to be wanting to get rid of the filibuster? Or will you be using the filibuster? And she turned pale. She didn't know where to go, and he wouldn't let her off the hook, just stared at her.
Isn't
And
it
she,
interesting?
I think, like he said, it's interesting that how filibuster is bad for one, good for the other. When the situations turn around, the good and the bad turn around too, don't they? And she was flabbergasted.
Wow. All I can say is wow, because
Monica and I said, well, even Monica said, I can't believe that's coming out of his mouth.
I'll tell you, it is unreal because I have been doing a little research on the filibuster, and it's very interesting. Very interesting. By the way, jeepers creepers. You know, I wish to heck I could organize my stuff in some cogent manner so that I could find what I'm looking for without looking like an idiot.
Well,
But,
Billy,
you know,
this is the 21st century. You should have one of those electronic pads here, and all you do is press the button, and it lays it all out for you.
I don't know. Perhaps it's here someplace.
Kids say paper. What the hell's paper?
Here's the thing I was looking for. A Lani Guinea passed
yeah,
away.
I know who that is.
And it's very interesting. The end of the obituary in the Globe, and I want to read this. And in politics, she said, the survival of democracy depends on both addressing inequities and stepping away from a winner-take-all approach. The fundamentally important question of political stability is how to induce losers to continue to play the game, she wrote. Political stability depends on the perception that the system is fair, to induce losers to continue to work within the system rather than to try to overthrow it. This is the reason for the filibuster.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that the smaller groups, smaller states, if you will, can exercise some influence on what's going on in Washington. The winner-take-all that she's talking about is matches up perfectly with what we're faced with right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Exactly.
a 50-50 Senate,
Yeah.
but yet there's 150 that wants to dominate totally,
Yeah.
and who has said to the other 50, go away.
Exactly.
You are not welcome to caucus with us as we develop legislation.
Oh, he got her twice last night.
Oh, really?
He said, I think the first thing we should do is get rid of that damn Senate. He said they do nothing but bicker and deadlock the country. He said, just get rid of them altogether. What do you think about that, Senator? And then she didn't know where to go, and he let her off the hook. He says, of course, you'd be grandfathered with some other job, so don't worry.
Right, yeah.
Just laughing it off, because she was really getting uncomfortable now. You can almost see the beads of sweat forming up on her forehead.
She will have some new rules for him before she goes on that show again.
He's going to get some feedback from that.
One wonders what has happened
I don't know.
to the hierarchy at NBC, is it?
CBS.
CBS. Huh.
Yeah, CBS, because they're... Yeah, because it's on 14 is the other... But he's not it's not always that way, but he's changed. And we used to put him on. I said, I can't stand this guy.
Me too.
But now he's actually got some funny stuff. He doesn't. It's not he doesn't write it.
No,
you know, obviously.
no.
He's got writers.
Here's an interesting quotation. Yet, as recently as 2017, a majority of Senate Democrats signed a bipartisan letter defending the filibuster and opposing any effort to curtail the existing rights and prerogatives of
absolutely.
senators to engage in full, robust, and extended debate.
This just switches who's ever uses it to their advantage. That's all it is.
Yep. And in 2005, when Republicans were in the majority and were tempted to do the filibuster, what Schumer to the filibuster, what Schumer and most Democrats want to do now, a senator said the following. I understand that Republicans are getting a lot of pressure to do this from factions outside the chamber, he said in a floor speech. But we need to rise above an ends justify the means mentality, because we're here to answer the people, all of the people, not just the ones wearing our party label. One day, Democrats will be in the majority again, and this rule change will no longer be fairer to a Republican minority than it is to a Democratic minority. It's one of the oldest rules in two-party politics. What goes around comes around. If only both parties could manage to remember it.
That's right.
Spoken by Barack Obama.
That made sense.
Now, he wrote an editorial that appeared in the Globe calling for an end to the filibuster again.
Yep.
Guess it's which day of the week
Whose
you
ox
ask.
whose ox is being gored?
Yep, exactly. To me, I think the filibuster is of great importance. The beauty of the filibuster is if you want to change something, build a consensus. Work with the other guys. That's what we send you morons to Washington for.
That's right.
To work together. And how many of them, by the way, say, if I go to Washington, I will cross the aisle, I will work with the other party, and we will accomplish great things because we are working for all Americans.
Right.
And ta-da-da-da-da-da, what a bunch of
all you get is
hoss.
bang, wah, 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 wah.
Yep. Now, Sinema and Manchin both have said, we're not touching the filibuster. So now, Chuck Schumer has really boxed himself into a corner. He's got no place to go. So he is now attacking the Republicans because of the voting bill. Well, there's no support for that countrywide. None.
Bill, look at the idiots that are sitting there. I mean, Schumer, Pelosi, AOC, and the idiot of idiots, Margaret Taylor Greene. Good Lord.
It goes on and on.
Cruz. I mean, you can take them from either side, and they're just nincompoops. Why we elect these kind of characters, I don't understand.
You know what else is interesting? Is Steny Hoyer is number 2 in the House behind Nancy Pelosi.
Yep.
There are people that say they haven't spoken for years.
Oh, I'm
they
not surprised.
hate each other.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So how did they get anything done
They don't.
with all of these cross currents?
Yep.
Hard to believe. By the way, here's a editorial from the Globe about what we're talking about. The changing.
Okay.
Besides Manchin, who killed Build Back Better? Biden and the Democrats did. They did it themselves
Well, they loaded it with so much garbage.
Well, and they never once went to America and said, I want to sell you this bag of legislation. Here's what's in it. Here's why it's important to you.
There's hardly a person in this country that doesn't say, yes, we need new bridges. Yes, we need new roads. Our airports we got air traffic controllers using equipment back from the 50s. We got to update. We got our computer control system. Everything is so outdated. We need new infrastructure. Fine. I mean, that would have leave it at that. But oh no, we got to start tacking on reparations and social justice with this and some kind of wacko climate control stuff in it.
Family leave.
Family leaves.
Let's give them a year off after they have a child.
Take those pie in the sky things, put them over here and take them at one at a time. Start with the most important things like infrastructure and do that. Then take item number 2. Then we'll do this all separate. Don't put them in a big pot, stir them up, and then wonder why nobody supports it.
Because Nancy
know why.
Pelosi,
Yeah.
when she rammed through Obamacare, she said, we have to pass this so we can see what's in it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, does she think that we're that stupid
Yeah.
that we have no memories of how they
Well,
operate
they
down
do
there?
think we're that stupid, Bill.
Yeah, they do.
They really do.
They have contempt. Oh, of course they do. And you know what? They're right, because we keep re-electing them.
We keep re-electing
Yeah.
them. Huh?
Yeah, we do, indeed. Was it you that I was talking to about rabies?
I don't know. What about rabies?
That we practically eradicated
yeah,
it
there's
totally?
been a little.
Yeah. 5 people in the U.S. died from
Yeah.
rabies in 2021. Idaho, Illinois, and Texas were the 3 states that reported deaths. And 4 of the 5 people who died did not receive the vaccine.
Yeah, that's the problem there.
Yeah. Once it causes, when virus reaches the brain, it can cause convulsions, fear of water, excess salivation, and other symptoms. Eventually, the infection causes coma and death. Does not sound like a very pleasant death either.
No, God, no, it's not. Speaking of diseases and that, I inadvertently moved into the area of disease in that fact that I'm on a mouse hunt.
Aha.
I bought new traps.
Yep.
Those Victor little
Yep.
snap your finger off if you're not
Yep.
careful traps. I don't know how you ever trap those things with the big leg traps. I mean, I'm nervous as hell pulling that spring back and getting that little piece of, put that peanut butter on and just getting that little thing in there. I thought, it's going to get me one of these days.
When I was a little kid, my grandfather had some traps hanging up in his cellar.
Yeah.
He's the one that taught me how to trap. And I'd go up his house a lot of times at night after supper to say hi to Grandpa and everything. He was my father figure. And big deal was we'd get down cellar and he'd put more coal on in the furnace and shake it down and all that. I was fascinated by that. But while we were down there doing things, I'd always take a trap down and practice setting it. Dwayne, I've set traps. I have set 1,000,000 traps in my life. I can set them blindfolded.
Oh, what irritates me is I take them out in the garage, I get them all, get out there, I get it all the way out there. I set it down and I must wiggle it a little bit too long. It snaps and I got to go way back in the kitchen inside, sit down and do the whole thing all over again.
They are touchy.
They are really touchy.
Yeah. But you know what? You got to have it that way. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they'll sit there and just eat the peanut butter
Oh,
right
absolutely.
off
I
the
got
pan.
some
Yeah.
once in a while they lick
They
it
do
clean.
it.
Or also, I notice if I put out multiple, I got 3 of them in a row because they're out in the garage. That's where I'm getting them until this cold snap. But one will get caught in the trap, and you know he got caught before he ate all the peanut butter. Well, somebody else came along and ate the peanut butter while he was stuck in the trap.
Yep.
I said, they don't care if their buddy gets trapped or not. But anyway, so I'm getting this thing. I said, here, Monica, you do. I'm not touching them dirty things. They're diseased. I said, I'm not sure. But so I went up and see about, first of all, I wanted to know what kind of mice these were. They're brown, and they got a white belly.
White-footed mouse.
White-footed mouse. I looked it up on the internet. And one of the questions was, do they carry disease? And they said, surprisingly, not very much. They're relatively clean animals.
They're just like any other wild animal.
And
Yeah.
he said they have been known to carry hantavirus, but there's not been a case of hantavirus in New England since 1995. So it's very rare. So I thought, all right, I didn't know if they were crawling with God knows what, but
No.
I told her they got real nice fur. Just touch them.
I would, days gone by, if I caught a few mouses during the summer when they'd come in at different times.
Yep.
Toss them in the freezer. I'd use them for fox bait or mink bait.
Yeah, I
during
throw them out in the
trapping season.
backyard. That's where I
Yeah.
saw the owl pick one up.
Yep.
And I think that the fox is coming in
Oh, sure.
looking for because I'm throwing them in the same spot every time.
Yep. Oh, that's a good idea.
But I had in the past got little gray ones. I don't know if you ever saw. They're only little tiny ones about this big.
Yeah.
They have a gray and a white stomach too. These brown white-footed are bigger. But you're right. That's exactly what the
Yeah.
thing is.
Yeah.
The garage. I've got none in the house for over a month, and then I only got one or two. The garage now I'm up to 26 so far. I'm getting some nights two a night.
Wow. Little rascals, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This cold weather is driving them indoors.
Yeah, bringing them in.
Yeah.
But I started that because Monica had an incident of mice in her car in the heater.
Okay.
Oh my God, a couple of them died in there. Oh, we all smell. I took it down, and when they serviced, they took it apart, and then they put new cabin filter in.
Yeah.
2 dead mice in there. He said, we better start doing something with the mice in the garage because they're going to nest in your car.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially after the car comes in and it's still
Warm, yep.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
We were sitting in the living room last night, and my wife said, "Oh, by the way, while I was sitting here last night reading, I heard the pitter-patter of little feet upstairs.
That's all. That's
I
our
said,
house all the time.
Was that you?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, No.
No.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have to, let's just leave them alone. They're nice.
I think I got that red squirrels because he comes in the fall, does whatever he does. I can hear him dropping acorns sometimes up there. In the spring, he goes again.
I had
see him
the
again.
red squirrels drill a hole in the side of my house.
They'll eat right through
Peter Hildebrand had to plug it and all. I caught 13 red squirrels in my house,
Mm-hmm.
including twice catching 2 in the same trap.
Wow.
Now, I used much
What kind of trap-
bigger.
What kind of trap you use for that?
The same as the little ones, except they're much bigger.
These things that
They're-
snap
no,
together?
no, big versions of what you're using.
Okay.
Rat traps.
Like rat traps?
Yeah.
Okay. There's no way I'd mess
Now
with
those you got to be careful with,
I wouldn't
because those
mess with a
can
rat
hurt
trap.
you.
They can hurt you. I think the little ones will break your fingers.
Oh, I don't think they break you. Not even the big. Anyway, I've got slammed enough times. I haven't had any broken fingers yet,
Right.
but uncomfortable as hell.
I'll bet.
One trapping season, opening morning, about the 3rd trap I set, I pinched the meat right here. I had a blood blister for the whole month.
Yeah.
That was nice. Yikes. Anyway, hey, here's a news flash. In the Hong Kong elections, the Beijing group won all the votes.
How could you not when they handpick the candidates?
Oh dear. And they described it in the Chinese paper as a landslide
Of course.
victory. You know, what a shame that whole thing was.
Yep.
They can be free for 90 years or whatever the hell the story
that
was.
That was never.
Whammo. Tell me something, Duane.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey teams and football teams are coming under fire, high school versions,
Yep.
for racist remarks and threats against other teams using racist terminology. Danvers appears to be a team that
Yeah, they've got a couple of incidents.
yeah, more than their share. And also the hazing appears to have
Yeah.
gotten way out of hand. What is this all about? What's causing this?
You know, I don't know, particularly the hazing aspect of it, because it used to be hazing was big in athletic teams, for example.
Yep.
And it got to be big, and then it got to be dangerous. It had to be deadly in some cases. and then they kind of got it under control, and I think it stopped, and then for some reason it started again. And I'm not sure what the root cause or why some of them think they have to do that. To me, it's kind of...
It's bullying is what it is.
It's kind of counterproductive as a team.
Yeah.
Because you're not hazing the other team, you're hazing your own team members.
Yeah.
That never made a lot of sense to me, but
No. And it makes little or no sense to me. I don't understand it. Except it's the bullying aspect.
when I was in high school, I went to such a damn small school that I played football freshman, part in the second sophomore years, and then they dropped the program. If we'd have lost one person in high school quick because of hazing, we probably wouldn't have had 11 guys to play. So ask you to play. Was a lineman, of course. I would have had little legs, couldn't run, but I could, like an idiot, stand there.
Yeah.
But somebody's asked me, did you play offense or defense? I said, yeah.
Yep.
Well, played them both because we didn't have enough people to play two teams.
That's why there's a lot of high schools down south that have 7-man football teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there was no hazing or anything. It wasn't even part of the. We never thought of anything like that.
I never saw or heard of any of it at Walpole High School or at King Philip.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if it happened, but I don't understand it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other thing I don't understand is this proliferation of swastikas.
Oh, well.
Now,
I can only say from my own experience.
Yeah.
Now, you and I were raised and grew up in a different time era.
absolutely.
We were World War II was, was very fresh. And we didn't play Cowboys and Indians as kids. We played Germans and Americans.
Yeah.
We played war.
Yeah. We played war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whoever was the German always had an old shirt. We'd wear all swastikas on it, and I had my little plate, my trucks and stuff. Some were the German Army trucks, and some were they had swastikas. Today, if somebody walked in and saw all the swastikas on that kid's trucks, they'd lock him up.
Yeah.
To us, it was more of just a symbol of the enemy. You had the GIs and you had the Germans.
I think this is a lot less brainless than that. A lot more brainless than that, I should say. I think it's morons.
I do too, and I'll tell you why. Go ahead. But
I think it's morons that are doing it just without understanding what that symbol means.
Bingo.
They understand it will raise hell. It'll get the administration running around like the morons they are.
They'll get a reaction out of it.
Everybody, the cops will be in.
Oh,
everybody will overreact, and the moron will sit back and laugh and say, "Look what I did."
You got a history test you didn't study for? Draw a swastika in the men's room. Hell, well, maybe you go or drop a empty .22 caliber empty shell. We'll all be in lockdown. I won't have to do the test. Well, you idiots! They're playing you.
Instead of calling the maintenance department and saying, whitewash this.
Yeah.
And be done with it.
You don't say it. The more fuss you make, the more copycats you're going to get out there. Or the more the kid that did it's going to snicker and say, that worked. I'll try it again. Yeah, kids are kids. Kids they got a lot of different diversions today, a lot of different activities, a lot of different interests, but they're still kids. They still react to the basic thing. Yeah. Look what I did.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's not the smart kids. It's the dullards.
Yeah. Looking for the thriller. Look what I did.
And yet, these educated administrators, these brilliant people, overreact every bloody time it happens.
Right into what the kid was trying to do.
Oh, by the way, were you ever traumatized by seeing a swastika?
No, we drew them on everything.
Yeah. I mean, give me a break.
Bill,
That's another thing. Oh, that's going to traumatize the kids.
take those kids, 100 of them, just for example, show them the swastikas, ask them what it is,
Yeah.
and explain it. What it is, where did it come from, who used it, why was it used, etc. You won't get two that has any idea what the hell it
No
is.
idea whatsoever.
No, it's just they're told it's this and they're told it's something, but they don't understand it. They don't know.
Did you give us 5 or 2?
Two.
2. Oh, okay, so we're done. Gee, I got another swell story. I have a swell story here, but it'll have to wait till next
You'll
time.
have to wait till next time.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you've, well, I don't know whether you've learned anything or not.
Of
But
course.
perhaps we've pumped up your blood pressure a little bit and got you moving.
You don't have to say, I'm glad I'm dumb as those two guys are.
Oh, boy. Yeah. All of a sudden, I feel better about
That's right.
myself. Well, listen, folks, have a great couple of weeks, and we'll come back. And I say this every time, but we'll be more organized. I've gotten some mail for some real fraudulent people that I'll tell you about, and a story in Massachusetts that got the
Oh, yeah.
that got a huge play in the paper. That is amazing.
If you want something that you want us to discuss, you got some opinion, email me. It's my name at comcast.net.
That's it. Yeah.
Easy
That's
enough.
All right. And and I have you'll have to wait till next time. That's it, folks. Good day.
Stay warm.